We are recording.
We're recording. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. And I would like to call the combined meeting of the trustees of the Tulsa Airport Improvement Trust and meeting of the members of the Tulsa Airport Authority to order. We have the minutes of the last meeting. Do we have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any opposed? Motion carries. Financial and operating reports.
So I will kick things off today. Thank you all for being here in person with us. I know it's not the ideal situation. I heard Jeff Stava, he's on the virtual meeting, so hello, Jeff. The good news is the governor did sign the bill yesterday, which allows us to meet virtually going forward. So this will be our last in-person meeting until the foreseeable future. It gives us a year basically of time to do virtual meetings if we need it. We have had a busy few days because of the winter weather. It came in Monday pretty quickly and our teams were out treating the runway surfaces, making sure that we could maintain one of the runways for aircraft traffic. We have applied over 3,300 gallons of de-icer chemical compared to the past 6 years where we've done about 7,700. So in 6 years, we basically did half of what we did this week over a 6-year period previously. Wow. It's kind of crazy. We've applied 142 tons of sand to the airfield. On the land side of the terminal building, we've applied 1,600 pounds of ice melt. I mean, we have been out there doing everything we can to make sure all of the surfaces for our employees and our customers are safe. One of the challenges in operating an airport are the perimeter entry gates. Those have to be secure at all times, and there are a lot of mechanisms that are a part of that. And with the freezing rain and drizzle, it has just been a challenge. But our maintenance teams have been out there responding to gates that are stuck open or jet bridges that are stuck. It's just a constant need, and our guys have been busy and they've done a great job. Riverside has also remained open. Austin and his team down there have treated the runway surface. So they have one runway available down there. They don't have many operations, of course, but if it's needed for the corporate jet traffic or the pilot that needs to get out, they have that available. Inside the terminal, we have started the ticket counter project. So the dust walls have gone up. If you're downstairs, the new American counter is under construction, and then the United counter is under construction. That phase of the project is scheduled to be complete by the end of April. And then we'll move on to phase 2. The entire project won't be done until the end of this year. We continue to submit reimbursement requests to the FAA for our CARES Act funding. We've received 11.5 million of our 15.7 million in total funds so far. What we're doing is asking for reimbursement for operational costs related to payroll, our fire, janitorial services, those types of things. The good news is at the end of December, Congress did approve additional CARES Act funding. We haven't received any confirmation about how much will be available to us. We think it'll be an additional $5 million, but until the FAA provides additional guidance, we don't know specifically yet. But already the House is talking about a third round of funding for airports. Yesterday, the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee reviewed the bill that would provide $8 billion more for airports, which would provide additional funding through September. That passed the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. It's now in the Budget Committee. And the goal is once it makes it through all committees, a full measure will be placed on the House floor. So
is this part of the stimulus bill?
This would be, yes.
Part of the 1.9 trillion?
Yes, yes. There is a measure that we are opposing on the Hill right now. Right now, the CDC is advocating or considering requiring COVID testing for all domestic passengers. The industry, airlines, travel industry, airports, all are unified in our opposition of that. We believe that that will really stifle future demand. Any uptick that we're expecting to see as people get the vaccine will just be cut because of that, because of the added expense and just the reliability of the infrastructure needed to provide those tests within the 72-hour time frame. And finally, I just wanted to wrap up by again acknowledging our team this week. We held our Above and Beyond luncheon, which was a grab and go lunch this year because we couldn't get everybody together, but we recognized all of our team members who were nominated for the Above and Beyond Award in 2020. Out of our 124 employees, we had 48 who were nominated for Above and Beyond. So it just shows, in my opinion, the breadth of commitment of our employees to providing outstanding service. And it was just a nice way for us to be able to tell them thank you again for all that they do. And with that, I will turn it over to Fabio for the financial report.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
A few months ago, Kristen Hughes from RSM, TAIT's independent auditors, presented the audited financial statements. At that point, they were still waiting guidance regarding the CARES Act, thus delaying the compliance report. That report has since been finalized, and I believe Jeff provided you that report earlier this week. The compliance report reports on TAIT's overall compliance with internal controls over the financial reporting and other matters that are based on the financial statements performed in accordance with our government auditing standards, as well as compliance on federal programs and internal controls over federal reporting and schedule of expenditures for federal awards. In summary, RSM's opinion is the trust is in compliance with all material aspects through June 30, 2020. If you have any questions regarding the compliance report, please let me know. Currently, our activity, we are reporting on calendar year 2020 through December, and over 2019 through December. So we have 12 months of calendar year activity. Our activity, however, is reported on a fiscal year basis, but this gives us a pretty good snapshot of where we are with the year of 2020 and our expenses and revenues. Looking at our revenues, we're down about 34% this December over last, and calendar year to date, we're down about $8.5 million, 22%. Due to the COVID and the pandemic and its effects on the aviation industry. Our expenses, however, we're actually really doing well. We're 12% down on our expenses month over month and 18% lower in our expenses from calendar year to date. It's about a $4.7 million savings in operating expenses. Unfortunately, it's not sustainable to operate at these low levels. We are seeing projects that are, or repairs and maintenance that are starting to creep up. So we expect to see that expense number slowly increase as the remainder of the fiscal year proceeds. Our net operating income before depreciation, significant difference from where we were last year to this year in December, as well as calendar year to date. We're down about $3.8 million, 28% difference in our NOI. Food and beverage, still struggling due to the reduced passenger activities, down 66% from where it was a year ago, just about $5 million. And our retail is down as well, about 48%. Collectively, those two categories are down about $7.4 million between this year over last. Parking operations, same effects, reduced passenger activity. Our ticket pulls are down about 58% for year over year, 262,000 less tickets pulled in our facilities. It is important to note that our valet is still closed. We closed it in March of last year, and we continue to work with LAS to determine when it would be an appropriate time to start considering to open that product up again. Unfortunately, the comfort level in consumers is not there yet, and neither is our passenger activity. Our parking revenue is slightly down, again, 59% compared to our tickets. It's right about on track, $6.3 million less revenues collected in our parking activity. And our ground transportation, which includes the Ubers, the Lyfts, the shuttles, taxi services, down about 58%, $227,000 less collected this year over last. Transaction days for the rent-a-cars are down as well, 46% year over year. And our operations at RVS, December saw a significant decrease from last year, 17% with about just under 3,000 less activities. Year over year, we're down about 6%, 12,000 less activities at RVS when compared to last year. Our fuel flow is down, kind of following the same trajectory as our operations in December. Year over year, we're down about 13%. And plane passengers down 55 and 56% when comparing the 2 years together. About 840,000 less passengers utilized TUL in 2018 compared to 19. And our cargo number, the silver lining in the clouds, set 47% up for December, a 1.7 million pound increase in cargo activity for December, but year over year, we're still down about 9%. The next slide, James. The next slide just shows our 3 years of in-plane passenger activity, 18 being orange, 19 being blue, and 2020 the red. We did hit our worst period ever in April. We've seen significant increases from April, but still down about 50% across the board. December ended slightly lower than November, but again, about 55% down calendar year to date, fiscal year to date, about the same. Next slide, James. So this slide is our fiscal year to date comparison. This takes July 1 through December 30, 2020 over the same period for last fiscal year 2020 of December 19. And as you can see, we're about 32% down from last year, $7.2 million reduction in our revenues for the first 6 months of the fiscal year compared. The really areas that were hit the hardest were our terminals, which includes our concessions, and our parking facility. That makes up about $4.2 million of that deficit from this year over last year. Our operating expenses really still holding strong. They're 19% lower, about $2.2 million less expenses for payroll, material, supplies, and other services, netting about 48% lower than we were last year. And again, take out debt service. We did reduce our debt service with a refinancing that we did, the forward financing in March that took really effect in June slightly, but we're still down significantly from where we were last year. Next slide, James. This slide is our budget to actual comparative for the fiscal year, July 1 through December 30. And we did reduce our budget about 20% from where it was previous year. We were right around $42 million in budget last year. This year, we're about $32 million in budget. Again, the real hard hit areas here are the food and beverage in our terminal, the rent-a-car facilities, and the miscellaneous revenue, which accumulates. The bulk of it is our CFC funds. So collectively, we're down about 7%. That's $1.1 million lower than we anticipated to be this year. Our expenses, we're operating ahead of budget, but again, that's really not sustainable for the long run. We've really tightened our belts, but we're seeing a creeping of expenses coming up in the next few months. The next slide, James. This is our forecasted cash position for our liquid cash as well as our debt service reserve. Currently, we have about $18.7 million in unrestricted liquid cash. That equates to about 271 days of cash on hand. Using our budgeted operating expenses and capital purchases, that gives us about a burn rate of $69,000 per day to operate the airport. And that's if we did not have any revenue coming in, which is not the case. We are still collecting revenue, just a reduced amount. Our debt service, we've made all of our payments through January. We have about $6.6 million, and with our revenues and our cash reserve, we should be able to cover that $6.6 million without any issues. And looking at our reserve, we have 3 different buckets of reserve. Our operating reserve, our bond reserve for tax-exempt bonds in our taxables. That's about $17.7 million. So we have about 13 months of debt service excess in reserves. Any questions regarding the financial presentation?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
Approved purchase through Unified Supply.
Yeah, I'll take that. To approve a purchase through Unified Supply for 3 tow chains for the outgoing baggage carousels MU1, MU4, and MU5 in the amount of $129,888.38. These tow chains are original to the equipment when it was installed to begin to wear down and cause other issues with other pieces of the equipment. So we recommend approval.
Have a motion.
Move approval item 3.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Contracts, Industrial Controls of Oklahoma.
Good morning.
Hornet.
Good morning. Item 4 is accept, bid, and approve award of contract for Industrial Controls LLC for the ARC fiber optic line in the amount of $61,895. This contract will provide all materials and labor to install fiber optic line between the electric vault and Fire Station 51. This fiber optic line would be used for the communication of the crash phone. We received 2 bids, $61,895. Second bid, $76,000. Our estimate for this project was originally $100,000, or about 30% over the lowest responsible bidder. Management recommends approval of item 4.
Okay. Motion.
Just a quick question. Is that, so do we not have this line before?
Right now, we have connectivity over there through AT&T, and it's
Oh,
old
okay.
copper stuff that they no longer want to support. So it's one of those, they constantly raise the rates on us, and it's not reliable
Right.
anymore.
Communication between the vault and the fire.
Yeah, so for the crash phone, when the tower picks up the phone, it will go straight to the fire department, alert them. They have about 2 minutes to get to the furthest point of the runway, automatically opens the garage door, fast tracks everything for all our alerts out there in the field.
So I guess my question would be, everything's going wireless.
Yeah, and that's why we're running cables on this, because wireless, when it comes to something like voice, there's some latency involving. So you can have that, stuttering. And when it comes to something like a plane is having alert 2, God forbid, alert 3, you don't want to have that potential risk of them not being communicated, not being there in time for some potential disaster.
Okay.
So unfortunately, it's one of those. And there's all certain FAA regulations required to. So
Okay.
One of those things we've been looking at for years, and we're just at that we got to do something before it degrades and God forbid becomes a problem.
Okay.
Move approval of item 4.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. No contract amendments, change orders.
Item 5 is approved change order number 3. Ticket counters, terminal building project phase 4 with Myers Cherry Construction LLC in the amount of $15,695.98. This change provides funding for the installation of valves and taps on the water lines, providing water for the HVA system. To date, we have change order dollar amount of $198,176.83, 3.3% over the bid price of the project. Management recommends approval of item 5.
Motion.
Move approval item 5.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Property development and leases.
Good morning. Item 6 is to acknowledge and consent to amendment to sublease agreement between BizJet and L3. Basically what it did was clarified some Scrivener errors and corrected it, and also added a 5-year option to extend the sublease. Currently, L3 leases a hangar from BizJet, and they have 1-year options going to 2024. And with this amendment, it adds a 5-year option. And so they're just wishing for us to acknowledge and consent it, and we recommend doing so.
Move approval item 6.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Food and beverage.
Number 7 is approve amendment number 3 to food and beverage concession lease agreement with DNTUL, which is Delaware North, to delete the 142 square feet office in the baggage service area. That was a secondary office that they had, And of course, because of COVID and everything else, they just need one office. So we recommend approval.
Okay.
Move approval, item 7.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Number 7's approved. Number 8.
Number 8 is approve airport non-signatory air carrier sublease and license with Frontier Airlines effective March 1st, 2021 for a 1-year standard non-signatory rate. We recommend approval.
Okay.
Move approval, item number 8.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 9.
I'll take 9 and 10 together. And number 9 is the assignment from More Performance Aircraft LLC to Revocable Inter Vivos Trust of Dan Howard, dated December 13, 2013, upon closing with no later than January 31st. And 10 is the collateral assignment from the Dan Howard Inter Vivos Trust to Triad Bank.
Okay.
Move approval, items 9 and 10.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 11.
11 is approve assignment, sublease acknowledgement, and consent to assignment from Lawrence E. Areta to the Lawrence E. Areta Trust dated 4/16/2001 to the Lawrence Areta and Mary Ellen Areta as trustees of the Areta Family Trust dated January 7th, 2021. So basically they just moved it from one trust to another. It's the same family controlling it, it's just a different trust entity that is now controlling it.
Okay.
Move approval, item 11.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 12.
12 is just acknowledging and consenting to the subtenants of Mark Hamilton, which are Tate Montgomery, David Gowan, and Scott Hochstein. A couple of months ago, we did some other condo hangars, and 12 and 13 will be the last of those. And so we recommend approval of acknowledging number 12.
Okay.
Move approval, item 12.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 13.
And 13 again is the last of the condo hangars for El Toma LLC sent to the subtenants. And I won't read off all 13 names, but you can see them right there. And we recommend approval.
Okay.
Are these the long hangers over there on the west side? Where you got a whole bunch of T hangers?
Yes.
Motion.
Move approval, item 13.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. There's no new TAIT business, no TAA business, and everybody's favorite motion. Who wants to fight over it?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Okay, we're off the air.